As I'm currently in the year 1903 of my pulp project, where I read one pulp story for every year, since the pulps have started, I must admit I am enjoying 1903, so I will do a couple of videos about pulp short stories that were published in different pulp magazines in 1903. This is Obscure Book Adventures. And I am your host, Annie. So what kind of pulp short story do I have for you today? The Spookery by Albert J. Klinck, and that was published in the pulp magazine The Black Cat, and that was in the February issue of 1903. I did not really expect a really scary horror kind of story, but I did expect some ghosts to turn up. Alas, they didn't show up. Was I disappointed? Well, I must admit, a little bit. I was a little bit disappointed. But Klinck did write an excellent short story, even without the ghosts, and it not being horror at all. It did have a reasonable amount of suspense, which made up for the lack of horror. So what is this story about? It's just before Christmas, and Constance has one last chance to buy her Christmas presents for her family. As you can imagine, she is in a bit of a rush, and she is in a hurry, especially with the Christmas rush in the shops. With this in mind, she tries to save time by not having her presents wrapped up and not waiting for a bill to be written out. When the store detective accuses her of shoplifting and she can't prove that she paid for her presents, Constance starts to panic a little bit. Can she keep her head cool and escape the store detective? Albert J. Klinck does an excellent job at depicting someone who is wrongly accused. We see Constance's train of thoughts and the creative solutions she comes up with to escape the store detective. Aided by coincidence and quick thinking, she braces the situation through. I've come to the conclusion that for a 1903 story, short story, published in a pulp magazine, it is reasonably fast-paced, especially when you keep in mind that in 1903, in 1903, life was in general much slower than it is nowadays. But maybe because it is only, I think, a 4-page story, that this counts for it being just faster paced than your regular short story in 1903 that was published in a pulp magazine. I haven't been able to find out much about Albert J. Klinck, other than he was born in 1871 and died in 1933. Me and my trees. And he died in 1933. I found 2 books he wrote. The Quest for the Empress, which was published in 1901, and The Lady in Mauve, which was published in 1911. And he wrote a short story in the 10-story book magazine, the January issue of 1922. That was also a successful pulp magazine back in 1922. The Black Cat magazine was known for encouraging new writers and put out a writing contest. I think this was not only to encourage new writers. Yes, of course, it was encouragement for new writers, but it obviously was also a cheap way to get stories. And because I think the Black Cat magazine was one of the cheapest pulp magazines that were around back in 1903. But hey, who cares if the story is good? I don't mind it being written by an amateur. But I don't think Klinck was one of those new writers, as, like I said, he had already published a novel back before 1903. And nor for the same reason, I don't think he joined a contest for this short story being published in the Black Cat magazine. And reading the Spookery, you can definitely see a professional writer at work. If you want a quick and fun read that's free, I can highly recommend The Spookery by Albert J. Klinck. Thanks for watching.